Hello,
赵
everyone. I'm ZHAO Chuang. Let's draw a Huayangosaurus, one of the earliest stegosaurs. It lived in Sichuan, China. This group of dinosaurs was not as enormous as many later stegosaurs. Its body was small, only 4 meters in length. Its bony plates differed from the later stegosaurs in morphology, making this dinosaur unique. Its head and shoulders also distinguished it from other stegosaurs. Its head displayed a relatively square shape, unlike the later stegosaurs' elongated ones. Moreover, the 2 relatively long shoulder spines have disappeared in many later stegosaurs. Huayangosaurus is a surprisingly fantastic dinosaur. Now, let's get started. Begin with its mouth. Draw a curved line. The forend of its mouth housed many teeth. On the top and bottom of the teeth part, we can draw the keratinous beaks. Move backward to draw the top of its head. Then, put one eye on this location. We can slightly turn the head top to the viewer to see the other side. There were many large scales on the dorsal side of its head. Let's show them. Here, draw the nostril. Then, move to its throat and neck. Sketch the shape of its shoulder and shoulder blade. Under the shoulder blade was a long spike, the shoulder spine, extending outward. Further down, let's draw its forelimb. The upper arm comes first, followed by the elbow and wrist. On the wrist, draw some wrinkles. Then, draw its hand. It had 5 digits on each hand, 3 for walking. Proceed to draw its belly. Then, we come to its leg, the knee, the calf, and the ankle. The ankle should be drawn slightly bulged outward. Its hind limbs had 3 toes. The posterior of the other leg can be drawn to be straighter. The front was its toes. Slightly show the ground to let this dinosaur step on the ground. When drawing the ground, we can add more strokes near the feet to indicate the shadow. Now, proceed to draw its tail. Then, we move to draw its back. The back of this dinosaur had many bony plates growing on top. We first use dotted lines to sketch the general shape. At the root of its tail, draw some folds. Next, draw its tail spikes. It had 4 tail spikes with a small club at the tip. These 4 tail spikes grew horizontally, so only 2 are visible on this side. Then, continue with the bony plates. The front bony plates were somewhat round, but the following ones would become sharper towards the tail. The bony plates above the buttocks were the sharpest, and then they became smaller and smaller. Once this row of bony plates is finished, we can change the dotted lines into solid ones, where the bony plates join with the skin. Further upward, draw the shape of its spine. We can incoherently see the taller spine in the gaps through the bony plates. Then, let's draw the bony plates on the other side. Slightly apply some shading on the roots of bony plates in this row to make the whole picture more layered. Afterward, we come to the bony plates on the tail. Next, add structures to its throat. Its throat had many large scales, a typical structure of stegosaurs called gular armor. On the lateral side of its body, we can draw some relatively large scales. Draw them by using relatively thin lines. On the bony plates, draw some longitudinal lines to present the texture on the surface. Enrich the belly with more structures. Now, let's color this Huayangosaurus. First, use earthy yellow to draw a boundary between the belly and back. Its leg and the color of its lower belly can be lighter. After finishing this boundary, we can fill the part that should be with this undertone. Apply the color one area by one area. Go with the head and neck first. When applying the color, use thick strokes to trace along the inside of the boundary. This will make it easier for us to color in large blocks. We will fill these large scales on its body with a darker color later, so we don't have to carefully avoid them. Then, the body can be filled with color in large strokes. Nothing special with the limbs, we can use the same method. Now, we use gray to show the shadow area. Its belly should be presented with a white feeling. But we can't just leave it uncolored, but use a warmish gray to color the shaded area. Next, we use brown to color the keratinous parts, such as the beaks of its mouth, the large scales atop its head, and the bony plates on its body. These bony plates were wrapped in a keratin sheath when the dinosaur was alive, similar to a turtle shell. We can use brown to color them. It's easier to start by coloring the edges first, and then filling in the inside area. We continue to use this color to fill the bony plates on its tail. Apply the same color and technique to fill the tail spikes and the shoulder spine. Trace along the inside of the edges, and then fill the middle parts. We can also use brown to color its toenails. After that, switch to blue and color the eye. Finally, let's use brown to color these large scales on its body. And slightly embellish the ground. In this way, we have finished drawing the Huayangosaurus.